Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is Monday, September 22nd, 2025, and I'd like to call to order tonight's Pittsburgh Public Schools public hearing. Before we get started, I just want to clarify the process for speaking tonight. Ms. Erica Gandy will moderate our hearing tonight. Each speaker has 3 minutes to speak, and there's only one speaker allowed per registered number. You cannot share your time with any other speaker or give your registered time to anyone else. Speakers will be called one at a time, and as your time begins to wind down, for those testifying in person, the red light will begin to blink on your microphone. If you're testifying virtually, we will give you a signal through the Zoom to let you know that you have 30 seconds left. At the end of our testimonies, anyone who may have missed their turn will have one last opportunity. We will go through the list of anyone who missed to give you a chance. The speaking order is outlined in our policy, but we will start with those in person, followed by virtual testimonies. Let's see. Anyone who would like to view tonight's hearing can do so by clicking the link on the district webpage. After tonight's meeting, probably early tomorrow morning, the video of tonight's meeting, along with all submitted written testimonies, whether it's spoken or not, will be uploaded to the district website for view by the public. And I think that is it. And so with that, I will turn the meeting over to Ms. Gandy.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. And our first speaker this evening is Shirley Ann Hill.
I have followed the public hearings regarding the unfair treatment of former Montessori teacher Ms. Stephanie Lapine by Principal Kelly Meyer. Throughout my 41-year career with PPS, I too was subjected to toxic principals like her. In December 2023, Ms. Stephanie Lapine was removed from her class by Kelly Meyer. Ms. Stephanie Lapine was cleared in February of 2024, but was conveniently transferred to another school that does not have a Montessori program. Because you chose to completely ignore Kelly Meyer's toxic behavior, Ms. Stephanie Lapine will be starting her own Montessori school. Once again, another awesome teacher leaves PPS because you continue to enable this type of toxic leadership, which has been extended to the parents/guardians and staff. I am appalled that the Student Achievement Center is on a chopping block. This school offers our kids so much that credit recovery can't come close to it. When is the last time you observed a credit recovery class? Okay? While at Carrick, I can say credit recovery was dismal. The students log on and they basically are on their own. This also goes on at other schools. Take off the blinders and keep SAC open. Carrick High School has a very small percentage of Black teachers. I quote, research has shown that Black teachers have a direct positive impact on Black and non-Black students. This is from, end quote, The Power of Black Teachers, Casey Wright, February 26, 2025. Black students at Carrick matter. What is the rationale behind virtual public hearing speakers going after in-person speakers? Please return to the original format where it did not make a difference which option you selected to speak at the public hearing. I'm done.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker is Ann Ferris.
Hi, I'm Ann Ferris, a PPS parent living in the North Side. First, I want to congratulate Orly Trumbull and Chris Graves, our first student board representatives. I'm always energized when I see students engaged and curious and hope this board embraces that and takes care to give back by amplifying their voices. Chris Graves talked to the news about the importance of a voice coming from someone actually learning and being in an environment instead of just being an adult who's kind of a spectator, not fully experiencing what's going on, how the policies actually affect students. I am excited to learn from them how I can do better as an advocate for transparency, responsibility, and accountability from our district policymakers. Thank you, Director Udine, for your efforts to give these students a seat in the room. May we all be aware of our role as spectators in this process and the responsibility we have as adult members of the community to set our students up to succeed. I understand that you are all tired of hearing from parents with students in magnet programs pleading for these programs not to end when there are students who don't have the same access. But it confuses me when I hear Director Wilson say things like, "Dilworth has a wonderful morning program. Why don't other schools have one?" I feel like if this scheduling problem was one of the largest issues of inequity facing our district, we would be very lucky. It has been very important to me that I not deliver Save My School testimonies. I believe the PPS Magnet program has a history of offering incredibly successful programming to a diverse student population. I also understand how limited enrollment comes with inherent inequities. I support change that would make world languages, specialized instruction, and a thematic focus throughout the curriculum accessible to all students who thrive in those learning environments. Yes, let's keep working on this. I'm also confused by the administration's high priority to end the elementary magnet programs and move those students to their feeder schools this coming year. Dr. Walters has made this priority clear by postponing both the Magnet Fair and Magnet Lottery last year, giving less than a week's notice of these changes to PPS families, and not including these events in the 25-26 calendar. The latest facilities plan detail on this is documented as if the board has already voted to authorize the end of these programs. My question is, how much notice in months will families have ahead of magnet closures and school reassignment? If the facilities plan is not about budget, but about equity, then I ask you to edit the timeline in the plan to account for closures to occur X months after board authorization. Please show respect with transparent communication, not signaling. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker is Shannon Striner.
Good evening. My name is Shannon Striner, and I am the parent of a third grader at Fulton Elementary. At our very first PTA meeting of the school year, when some parents were only just finding out that our school is closing, we still couldn't answer even the most basic questions families deserve to know. Will our children remain together when they transition? Which teachers will go with them? How will students with IEPs receive their services when Dilworth doesn't have what Fulton has? 4 learning support teachers and an autism support classroom. These are not small issues. 26% of Fulton students have IEPs. Fulton is a majority minority school, and yet we're told this plan is about equity. From where I stand, you are robbing kids of the equity they already have, and you have not given us one clear reason, one explanation for how this plan will accomplish the goals you claim. I listened to the amazing community at the Woolslair hearing, and like them, I don't think you understand that both Fulton and Woolslair are partial magnets and partial neighborhood schools. These schools have some of the most engaged parents and community organizers in the city, people who make so much work with so little. They've established models that work, and yet you ignore it because this isn't about schools, it's about buildings. You keep Montessori intact, but you push to close Woolslair and Fulton, 2 equity success stories, while prioritizing one of the whitest schools in the district. That alone should make all of us question your motives. And I keep coming back to the $250,000 we spent on consultants. Go back and rewatch that presentation. ERS told you the worst thing you could do was close all these schools at once without a thoughtful transition. Yet here you are doing that. I empathize with the position you find yourselves in. The state is withholding money. Charters drain your funding. I understand resources are tight. But when families already feel like we cannot trust government at any level, this board has a responsibility to do better, to be thoughtful, to put kids first, to reduce trauma, not create it. Yes, this process has stretched on for 2 years, but let's be honest, time passing is not the same as doing the work, and the work hasn't been done. Families still don't have answers. Until you do that work, you cannot responsibly vote on this. As it stands, this plan is irresponsible, it is reckless, and most of all, it's traumatic for kids, especially the most vulnerable. Until you can show us how you'll protect them, there is nothing here to vote on. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. And now we will move over to our virtual speakers. And our next speaker will be Katie Rank Laff.
Hello. For many months, you've heard me ask what else PPS has tried to increase enrollment rather than opt to close schools. I was happy to see some board agenda items related to marketing and public engagement in this area. Thank you for that. We need more people sharing more stories about what's great about our schools, and I'm confident that many of the parents speaking tonight would be great ambassadors for our district. I would like to again ask that the board and the administration more carefully consider high schools in the plan as you proceed with adjusting our district footprint. It really seems like the high school configurations are not a central focus. The most recent numbers I have access to are from March of 2025 with the projected enrollment at Westinghouse of 362 students and a projected enrollment at Alderdice of 1,247 students. This may have shifted, but I don't have access to the new projections. My oldest child attends DICE now, and we benefit from the broad range of activities and classes available to him. Students at all our high schools deserve this wide range of activities, programs, and classes. They also deserve the right number of adults to help facilitate learning. There are currently not enough adults at Alderdice. Counselors have over 300 students each on their caseloads. How can these professionals guide our students for their future plans with that many students on their list? I don't know the answer to how we more appropriately distribute our high school students into our available buildings. I am not a demographer, but nobody wins when there's 300 students in one school and another 2 miles away is crammed with overtaxed adults and over 1,300 students. I won't speak for the families currently at Westinghouse or their needs, but I do know that it feels icky to purposefully zone 2 neighboring high schools with such vastly different enrollments. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. And our next speaker is Lauren Stupers. Again, Lauren Stupers. We'll move on to our next speaker, Kim Delhausen.
Good evening, Board of Directors and Central Administration. My name is Kim Delhausen, and I am an English language development teacher in my 14th year at Brashear High School. I have followed the Future Ready plan closely and know that you, the administration, are currently in the process of developing a final plan to present to the board sometime this fall. I have attended the regional meetings last summer, a community conversation in East Liberty at the beginning of this school year. At this point, I have spoken to you at countless public hearings attempting to advocate for thoughtful reimagining of programming for our English language learners as we embark on this journey. I call upon you to create an ELD stakeholder committee to help you with this work, comprised of parents, alumni, students, faculty, and multilingual educational assistants. At the community conversation in East Liberty, I spoke with both Assistant Superintendents Camper and Perlman about the possibility of meeting with ELD teachers to discuss our ideas. While it seemed that there was potential for this to occur during the content-based August professional development, we were ultimately told there was not enough time in the schedule that day by our director. Yet I found that community conversation in East Liberty the most insightful and clarifying because it was actual dialogue. We have often heard claims that teachers are experts in their fields, that families know their students best, that our multilingual educational assistants are valued partners. However, when the power structures and people representing them do not actually take meaningful time to have real, thoughtful dialogue with us, the claims fall flat. I urge you to initiate an ad hoc ELD stakeholder group that can provide you with meaningful insights into students and staff's experiences. Without these voices and experiences, how do you actually make meaningful change? Without real dialogue, how do you question assumptions? How do you expose fault lines? How do you disrupt the status quo? How do you interrupt inequities? Dialogue, not this monologue, is the beginning to reimagine a better future for the education of English learners in PPS. Create a space at the proverbial table for a committed group of stakeholders to join you in reimagining PPS ELD centers to meet the needs of multilingual learners. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker is Lily Almond.
Why are you rushing the things that don't need rushing? We have told you to slow down and make sure to take your time. Because of this rushing, students like me can't make the decisions we need to make. Under the new proposal, the only neighborhood magnet option you are offering for Northside kids is JROTC. Both of my parents are military veterans, and while I have all the respect in the world for service members, that is not something I want to do. The one program I chose to commit to from elementary to higher education was STEAM, and now you are trying to erase it. Dr. Wayne Walters, you haven't been being open. You haven't been open. You have been hiding everything that you are planning and things we need to know. You committed to rebuilding trust, but your decisions are still private and swarmed in secrecy. Instead of talking to the community, you have been making decisions and just pushing them on us, which is no way to rebuild our trust or run a school district. This is our future on the line, not yours. We need transparency and partnership, not patronization and scheming. There isn't enough time for you to implement your plan, cut the magnet programs, and build a district with community engagement in less than a year. To the board of directors, you are his boss. His failures ultimately fall on your hands if you allow him to continue on this timeline. Once again, you need to do your jobs. Don't commit to any major reconfigurations and cutting magnet programs to go into effect next year. It's a reckless decision that jeopardizes our future, and you know it.
Thank you for your testimony. Next speaker is Valerie Webb Almond.
Okay, so I have several questions around what is going on with this timeline and the magnet programs, whether or not we continue with the programs that we have currently or not. So I received my district calendar in the mail last week, and I realized after flipping through it that there was no magnet timeline whatsoever. Now, I do understand that Dr. Walters proposed that the magnet programs at several schools were to be cut along with the reconfigurations and everything. But my question is that something that is being done unilaterally regardless of whether you approve the reconfigurations or not? Are we just losing all of the magnet programs with the exception of the new select pockets of excellence, or are we going to continue those programs but have no timeline? Now, last year when you decided to push back the magnet application process, we were told the beginning of April that process was going to be delayed, but here it is coming up to October and we still haven't heard anything. There's nothing on the website, there's no updates, except you are no longer accepting any late enrollment magnet applications for this school year, and there's no plan for next year. So what is going on? Are we allowed to have our students transition into other programs for next school year that are expected to continue, like Kappa and International Baccalaureate and SciTech, things of those natures? Because we still have middle school magnets, just not in the north side, that our students can go to, or high school students that are transitioning to high school, or elementary students that are going to be in the feeders for the middle school magnets. We don't have any information. And you guys are still having community conversations, or you just finished them up, like after you already did all the special hearings for the closures anyways. So now we're just waiting on the clock to time out so that you guys can do a vote in November. But we haven't been shared with any information, and you guys are supposed to be building this with us, and you're not actually answering any of the questions. They're still not even on the website, a lot of the questions that the community has asked. And there's still not a whole lot of community buy-in. So what the heck is going on? What part of this is the community supposed to be buying into and building with the district to rebuild that trust and actually have something for our kids? Because we've been asking for 2 years, and if you haven't managed to come up with a community engagement process in 2 years, I highly doubt you're going to be able to rebuild a whole thing in 9 months. It is beyond time that you get realistic and stop just waiting out the clock to do whatever you're going to do anyways. You need to actually have community engagement and buy-in for this, because we are consumers in this. I don't want to send my kid to a charter school or a private school.
Thank you for your
based on-
testimony.
That might be my only option.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Anita Penn. Again, Anita Penn. We'll move on to our next speaker, Emily Sawyer.
Good evening. I am Emily Sawyer. I have 2 kids at Manchester, 1 at Schiller, and 1 at Perry in what is supposed to be a STEAM magnet program at Perry High School. It's really interesting listening to all these folks speaking, because you guys are getting so many clues and ideas about what people need and want if you can only listen. I know people are really upset and blaming you. It's really important for you to be able to put that aside and be leaders and be curious about why people feel this way and what they are actually saying. It feels so confrontational at this point as to be absurd, like we're on different teams. And it's so sad to listen to again and again. And sure, like maybe everyone's doing the wrong thing, but you guys are the leaders. Like, be leaders. That's all I'm asking. I really hope you're listening to the fact that people are already saying this school or that school is closing when you haven't made any decisions yet, or you're not supposed to have. This is an indication of deep distrust. Like, that should hurt your hearts. That this process doesn't work and can't work, and that you've already decided. And people have such good reasons to think that, you guys. And maybe it wasn't you. You didn't cause the hurt before. You didn't do it, but you're here now. You have to do your absolute best to listen, to bring us along, and make us trust that these closures are not foregone conclusions. And again, I'll just say that there is supposed to be a STEAM magnet at Perry High School, and it's really hard to create a program when parents are choosing Schiller and Sci-Tech and funneling kids who are interested in that stuff away from a school that could have a program that has students that are interested in those things. If we choose to send our students away from a program, how can a program exist? We make the world we live in, and then we complain about it. So like, I'm just getting tired of talking about magnets. I also really hope that you will use this opportunity to listen to the English language department, the teachers and the staff, because we have to serve our English learners excellently in this district. They're our fastest growing group of students. And when we fail any group of students, it affects the entire school community and the district and the city and the region. It's not enough to just make changes for the sake of change. I hear you guys say that, and I think everyone here is for change. Like, we want things to be better. But it's really important that you make the right changes and you get to pull the levers. So please, please, please stop making this a confrontational process. It's really hard to listen to again and again. People are hurting and you can do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. And so we want to ensure that everyone had a chance to speak, so I will go through the names again of the speakers who were not here at the time when I called their names. Lauren Stupers and Anita Penn. Well, that will close out our meeting for tonight, and I will turn this back into the hands of Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Ms. Gandy. And again, thank you to everyone who took some time to submit and read their testimonies tonight. We are going to adjourn for this evening, and we will be back on Wednesday evening for our monthly legislative meeting. Please drive safe if you're out there. The weather is a little tricky right now, so be careful, and we'll see you all soon.